So we're installing the hardware on our IKEA kitchen cabinets, and it always makes me nervous to like drill into cabinetry that we just purchased and installed. So I've figured out a system that makes me feel pretty confident. I thought I would show you how I did it. It's not the fastest thing, but if you're nervous about doing it, I think it will make you feel comfortable doing it. It involves using a hardware guide like this. I got this just at Home Depot for like 10 bucks, and it has a bunch of different holes and heights, so you can pick what you want. I have figured out what matches the hardware we're doing. You can see how these holes in our hardware match up with these outermost, I think they're the 4-inch holes. And I have put blue tape on it and a circle and an arrow for the holes that I'm using so I don't mess up and accidentally go too high or too low when it comes time to drill. It's the way I arrow-proof for myself. So what I'm going to do first is actually roughly put some pieces of blue tape on the stack of drawers about where I know the hardware is going. That's just so I can mark on the cabinet front without actually having to mark on the cabinet front. I can mark just on my tape. So I'm putting it about centered and about the drop I know we're doing. We are doing a 2-inch drop on each cabinet. We're not centering it on each because then it would be way down here and weird. We're just doing the same drop on each as we go. So once I've got these on, next thing I have to do is mark the center of each cabinet. Because in addition to these 2 outer dots, there's a center row, so you can make sure that you've got this centered on your cabinet. So what I'm going to do, this is a 24-inch base cabinet that we've got here, but even though it's 24 inches, the cabinet face itself is a hair less than that. It's 23 7/8. So it means my middle mark is 11 15/16, so just under the 12 mark. So what I'm going to do is just use my tape measure to make a little mark. It's just like the tiniest dash inside the 12. And if you are not confident about your math, like I am, I usually double check from the other side to make sure I get the same measurement, make sure I'm dead center. I'm doing this whole stack of drawers at once because they're all the same. It saves me from having to measure 3 drawers separately. I know all of them are this 11 15/16. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back and kind of... Oh, that's my school bus alarm. Okay, so then I'm just marking these.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah, connecting the dots so it's easier to see my line. And then I'm going to go just place this over the center mark. The last one I had of this was clear. It wasn't this like smoke plastic, so it's a little bit easier to see. But you just have to carefully... I'm moving it till I can see the line I marked through those little dots. If you can see that on camera.
Nope, can't.
More power to you.
Cannot at all.
And then the guide has a lip on the top that you can set on the top, so make sure that's firmly on there. I tell you, it'd be a lot easier if this thing were clear. Okay, there's my line. So once I've got it pressed firmly on that and on center, I like to clamp it on there so that I know it's not going to move, because as we just saw, it's a little tough to make sure you're right on that center line. And then some people just use a pencil to mark through these holes. I actually drill a pilot hole through them using like the tiniest drill bit that I have, because it keeps me right on the spot I'm supposed to drill. So I go pretty slow on these because you don't want to like ram your drill bit through the back of the cabinet because you might splinter the finish on the back.
And do you go all the way through?
You go all the way through. I mean, it depends on the hardware that you have, but ours attaches from the back.
I'm going to show that.
So I'm going to go all the way through. If you're also worried about the splintering, you can put tape back here, but your screw head will cover it at the end. So I'm just going to go, and I like to do them all at once because it saves me from switching out my drill bit.
Right, like all pilot holes at once.
Exactly, the whole stack. The blue tape on the face of the cabinet also helps the face of the cabinet from splintering, which is more important. Again, it probably will be covered by your hardware anyway, so it's not a big deal, but it's just an added bonus. cabinet blue tape. So now that I have all of my pilot holes drilled, I'm going to switch up my drill bit to, I believe this is a 3/16 drill bit, which is the actual size you need for your screws to go through. Screws. I don't know if I was in frame there.
You were not.
So now I'm just going to go back through. I'm not taking my tape off yet, but I'm going to go back through my pilot holes. Again, slowly. Going all the way through until I feel it poke out the other side.
Don't put your finger there, though.
No, if you're going slow, it's not a big deal. There we go. So I'm going to do that on the rest of them after the camera's done. I'll show you how I finish off here. So now that that's drilled, you take your tape off. You see your 2 little holes there. And then you can attach your hardware. Most hardware like this attaches from the back. So I go and put all my screws through my holes so they poke out there. And then just kind of finger tighten them enough to grab. You don't have to get them all the way in there, but get both sides so that's on. I usually go and finger tighten all 3, and I come back with just a regular handheld screwdriver. There's no reason to use a power drill on this because you don't want to like accidentally go too hard and fast and like tweak your screw or go through your cabinet face. You just tighten it enough so that's on there. I'll have to come back later and clean up all the dust and debris on the inside of the cabinet. But there it's on.
And if you want to see what a whole bay of them looks like, we've done a few others already. We have a few more to tackle, like the dishwasher and under the sink.